Hi friends, it's Becky. I just finished organizing my Bargain Bead Box for November 2025. If you are avoiding spoilers, this is the point where you will want to save this video to watch later and come back after you have your box to watch me make a really quick and easy bracelet with this box, because underneath this paper is my organized box from Bargain Bead Box. If you want to watch the unboxing that Jenny did for our channel, I'm going to link that in the description below, and you can go jump over there and get, close-ups of all of the beads that are in here. She talks about them. You can share her joy and enjoyment. But I'm about to show you how I organized mine and then jump into making a bracelet with the beads from here. So this is your last chance to exit if you don't want spoilers. If you do want spoilers, stick around though, because here we go. Right here. I love copper and purple together. I think I've seen it a couple of times, maybe even done it myself, but I forget until just now when I see all of this together just how beautifully they go together. Anyway, this is how I organized mine. I couldn't quite fit these guys all in one section, so since I had a little bit of extra room here with my pearls, we've got some guys visiting some friends. I love some of my favorite things in here are definitely these lampwork leaf beads. They are beautiful, gorgeous. I love the phosphorite. Those are just kind of the perfect like candy bead in there. Don't eat the beads, guys, though. Don't eat the beads. These are also delicious looking. They look just like plums, and I love that. I wanted to also share a little bit because often when we get gemstone pendants, they'll look different from box to box. Mine has a little bit of see-through-y behind it. Let's see if we can get a little better light reflection. There we go. Light reflection on that one. It's very pretty. I'm not going to be using this in this video. That is going to be for a necklace design, but I did pull out one of the, I love these toggle clasps. They are so cool, but I pulled out some pearls and I pulled out these crystals. I love these English cut crystals. They are one of my favorite types of cuts, and I absolutely adore these leaf beads. So we're going to be combining all of these into a pretty quick, pretty easy, simply strung bracelet design. Probably will be using some of those jump rings that came with this, and let me just grab a few of these bead caps because I like the bead caps to sit between the pearls and these crystals to help protect the pearl from the sharp edges of the crystals when it's on its strand. So speaking of strands, I thought I would string on some soft flex purple amethyst beading wire, and then using some 2x2 crimp tubes in copper for my closures, and we'll just use these guys when we do that. I've got my magical crimper. It is my favorite way of crimping. It works best on 0.018 and 019 wire and only with 2x2 crimp tubes, but it gives you a nice round little ball of crimp when you're done with it, and then you don't need to use crimp covers. So that's why I use this one when I'm making this. You can absolutely use different crimping methods, but I would suggest using a crimp cover if you are using a different crimp method. And then I've got some chain nose pliers for opening and closing jump rings and some flush cutters for cutting our wire. So let's get into it and start beading. All right, and I believe I have varying lengths of wire on here. One of those was a leftover from a previous project. So since it's not on the spool any longer, I am going to put a little bead stopper on the end of this wire just to keep the beads from sliding off as I go. The other end that will be the active side. And so I want to get a crystal, a bead cap, and I'm going to have the open side of the bead cap pointing towards the pearl that I'm about to add. If I can get this through the hole, there we go. And it looks like, there we go. Let's see, that's going to give a little bit of separation there. And then another bead cap, like a close parentheses on the other side of that pearl. And one of these crystals. I just love how sparkly they are. And then I'm going to pop one of these leaf beads on here. It's going to add just a little bit of whimsy and grace and a little bit of delicate stuff to this bracelet. So I'm just going to keep repeating that a few times until we get to the end. I'm not going to skip this to the end. Sometimes when things take a while or I'm going to be stringing for a while, I will skip or fast forward to the end so that y'all don't have to sit through it. But this is a simple project, pretty easy to do, and it's not going to take that long for me to get to the end. You are welcome to skip ahead if you would like to, but otherwise I think it's nice to just enjoy some time putting some beads on a strand with your friends. So that is what I am aiming to do today, and I did not realize when I put these nails on how great and how closely they would match these leaf beads. I'm just like, that was very, very fortuitous. These are Color Effects nails by Kiss. Impress. They are a drugstore brand of press-on nails, and these ones change color when you look at them from different angles, so they are absolutely my cup of tea. And I'm just going to keep stringing these repeats until it is about the size that I want it to be. We'll pull out a mandrel after I get what's on here strung on and see if I need to do an extra repeat or not. I was guesstimating how many beads I would use when I pulled these out of the box. This is a little bit of a design on the fly. I looked at the beads. I like to play around with my beads kind of while I'm unboxing and all of that. And I actually was watching Jenny's unboxing while I did mine because it's fun. It feels like we're doing stuff together when I do that. And I don't know if you guys do that too. If you wait until me or Jenny have our unboxings and then you're like, well, let's do this together. Which I don't blame you if you do, but I also don't blame you if you don't want to wait, if you are impatient and just want to get into your things. But sometimes it's fun to have a little bit of a surprise and do it with a friend. No worries either way. All right, let's do one last repeat. Do I have crystals on all sides? Okay, I do. Of this, and then I'm gonna see if I need to add more beads after this. I'll grab my bracelet mandrel, try that out. It feels bracelet size anyway. So let's find our size on that bracelet mandrel. Oh, that is perfect. Good eyeballs, Becky. Sometimes it's nice to tell yourself good things. Especially if you don't have a lot of other people out there telling you, hey, you're good at this. Tell yourself. There's no rule that says you're not allowed to say nice things to yourselves. But yeah, there you go. Good eyeballs, Becky. That was fantastic guesstimating in my experience. All right, let's get a couple of these crimps out. These are soft flex crimps, and their copper crimps have kind of thicker walls, so sometimes it's a little bit harder to get the second pass of the wire through. but it does mean that they are very sturdy crimps once crimped, and often a lot easier to do if you're new to doing this style of crimping. So I'm just making a little loop right here at the end. I bent that back through, and then I'm going to grab my crimper, and I'm going to scooch in a little bit closer so you can get a good look at what I'm doing. If this is the first time you've seen a magical crimper, it has a little concavity there, and sometimes you might purchase a magical crimper from, like, say, Amazon or something like that. In my experience, sometimes the ones from Amazon haven't been tested, and so if you get one of these and you keep practicing and you keep not being able to do it, it might be the actual crimp it is. I know that there are some smaller distributors who do test it before they actually put them out for sale. Softflex, the crimps that they have there, the crimpers, they open the package, they test it to make sure that it makes a crimp, and then they sell it. They don't just grab from a box without knowing whether they were actually done well or not. But anyway, that's my little spiel about, like, it can be frustrating if you watch somebody do something like this and it works, and then you get the same tool and it doesn't. Purchase from somebody who's actually tested it. That's my big advice for that. And then also be gentle with yourself, go slow, and try several times. So I'm making sure that that crimp tube is completely centered in that hole, and then doing a little smush, and it just tamps down the corners of that crimp. It is not done yet. I'm going to rotate this at a right angle, 180 degrees, and give it another smush. And then I'm going to rotate it again, give it another smush, rotate it again, another smush, and just keep going around at different angles. And as you do, it smooths out all of those corners, all of those edges, and you'll have a nice smooth ball of crimp. That's why I like this style of crimp, because it is pretty much finished just as it is right there. Right, now I left the loop so that I can use a jump ring to attach my closure, and I am going to crimp the other end of this bracelet. It's going to be a little bit faster for this one because I am not going to be talking you through as slowly or as much. I've just got my strand of wire going through a couple of beads, so it's coming out of that bead cap. You don't have to do that. You can just have it go through the crimp alone and not through some of the other things. It's hard to pull sometimes. Okay, there we go. And I'm just holding onto the wire with the flat end of this because I want to make sure that it doesn't disappear completely on that. Just bending this to make sure that we are not going to have too tight of a bracelet, so I'll bend the wire before I crimp it. And then I'll also let that out to get a little more slack so that I can wiggle my fingernail between my crimp and that bead, because that's going to help me be able to center this second crimp a little bit better in order to do exactly the same thing that I did at the beginning, just right up next to this bead instead. There we go. That is not as close to that wire as I want it to be. I'm just being really careful to snip the tail end of the wire, not the wire that's between. There we go. So that would be silly to snip that. I'm going to scooch out just a little bit because we are done with the crimping. And I'm going to attach my guys here. I grab a couple of these jump rings. And it's a whole bunch of different sizes on these jump rings. I think that might be a good size. And there's 2 of them. This looks to be about a 5mm jump ring size. There's some much smaller 4mm. This looks like it's about 7. This might be 8. But yeah, there's definitely different sizes. That would be about 6 probably. But yeah, all these different sizes of jump ring are all in here. I do like when we get a metal outside of the silver and gold colors that Bargain Bead Box will often include some of these additional components, like the jump rings, just in case you don't have antique copper jump rings. You now have them to be able to make some designs with. Now I'm just holding one side and twisting it open. And then I can attach my toggle to one end of my bracelet. And then I can attach my loop, my little flowery loop guy, to the other end of my bracelet. I really like this Bargain Bead Box. The colors are beautiful. The beads are fantastic. And now we've got a pretty simple bracelet with all of that. There we go. All right, once again, if you want to see all of the contents in a lot closer detail, go check out Jenny's unboxing. Look forward to some more designs from both of us on our channel working with this box. And I heard that we might be getting the companion bundle this weekend. So if you are not subscribed to the newsletter at Beadbox Bargains and you would like to know when that companion bundle drops, go sign up at Beadbox Bargains so that you can get notified of the companion bundle. And if you're not a subscriber to Bargain Bead Box, first of all, why not? But also, it is one of the best value for money bead subscriptions out there. You can see all of this. This is less than $30, including shipping. And you get all of these beautiful beads. You get gemstones, you get glass pearls, you get crystals, you get, sometimes we get check glass beads, we get all of these findings, and they are all super, super beautifully curated and definitely worth it. It is one of the best value for money bead boxes out there. We have a coupon code you can use for your a few dollars off your first month subscription. It's also going to be in the description below, and a link that you can follow to subscribe if you are not a current subscriber to Bargain Bead Box. Until next time, my friends, happy beading.